Hey everyone, Elliot Mason here with Unlimited Labor Solutions. I want to talk to you a little bit today about how to avoid delays in the EB-3 process. So we were just at the Aspire event, wonderful event in Orlando, and we had one particular company come up to us and ask, when can we expect to advance on to the second phase, the immigration petition? We've been in the process for 3 years already, and we're just now starting advertising. Now, our jaws hit the floor, and we were absolutely stunned that it's been taking 3 years for this one company just to get to the advertising stage. So I want to do a video today on how to avoid those delays, how to make sure that we can file as soon as the gates open instead of filing right before the deadline. So there are many segments in the EB-3 process where you can have additional delays. For instance, in the phase 1, the perm phase, there's several. So getting the company's information initially. Before we even make a filing, we want to make sure that as soon as you sign, that we have the company information, we have previous H-2B petitions, previous H-2B prevailing wages. We're going to make sure that we have all of your company information as quickly as possible because we can file it immediately. We will get your company's information in, your application in immediately so that that can start processing. Again, this is a first come, first serve process. It is not like H-2B where you have to file by the deadline, and it doesn't matter whether you file first or last as long as it's by the deadline. So with this, when you file your prevailing wage for perm, you don't have to have your workers' names at that point. You can get them after. Most important thing is just to get the company prevailing wage in first. Next, that'll take about 6 to 7 months on current processing times to get back. So during that time, we want to make sure that we're actively going out to get your workers' information and their documents. We have a fully bilingual intake staff here at ULS that will go out and collect that information. Your HR department does not have to worry about this. No more putting the burden on your HR department. We'll take on that burden. And we want to make sure that we do that during that prevailing wage processing time so that we don't add on additional time. Now, whenever the prevailing wage comes back, we will have already prepped everything to do the advertising, which is next. Now, we want to run all the advertising simultaneously. What does that mean? So there are 3 different advertising requirements. The first is to file with the state workforce agency for your state on their website. That's for 30 days. The next is to file or to advertise in 2 consecutive newspaper prints. The third is to advertise a notice of filing, basically the job offer, on the bulletin board in your lunchroom or wherever you have notices in your company. Now, we run that all simultaneously so that it only takes 30 days, because after, that'll be another 30 days of a cooling down period. Now, we want to make sure that we are conducting follow-ups on people that may have applied for the position. And right after the cooling off period is the perm application itself. Now, this is the most important part because that gives you your priority date. We want to make sure that you get that as quickly as possible. So up until this point, we are preparing the perm applications before we even get to the phase of filing the perm application. We want to make sure that during the advertising through the 30-day quiet period that our team is prepping those applications so that on day 1 we can file. If we have all the information, if you're helping us with company information, if your workers are being responsive to us, we will go out, we will collect the information, put them in the applications, and we'll file them as soon as possible. All that in the first phase equates to about an additional month of downtime if you file right before deadlines. We don't want to make this process go out any longer than what it has to be, so we file immediately. Now, the transition between the first phase and the second phase you have 180 days to file your I-140, your immigrant petition. Now, we don't want to have a single day more than what we have to, so we will file immediately. That means when the perm application is pending, we are prepping your I-140 application. We will not wait until we get the perm application back to start prepping. We prep in advance. And the same for the green card application. After we file the I-140 in phase 2, we will immediately start prepping for your green card application, either the I-485 adjustment of status if they're in the US, or their DS-260 if they're going to do a consular process back at their home country. We want to make sure that we file that as soon as possible, because there actually is not a time limit between filing the I-140 and filing the I-485 or the DS-260. But we want to make sure that we time it correctly to where your workers are in the country past the allotted period of time to file in the country. We don't want to wait longer, because if you wait longer, then that means that their H-2B visa will have less amount of time, and they'll have less amount of time to work. We want to make sure that they're in the country and have as much time as possible to work. Now, we also don't want to have delays if they're processing back in their home country, because they will not be able to get back in the country until they have their interview and their green card in hand. So if we are having delays on filing their consular process, then that just adds on needless delay. So all of that, there's about at least 3 years of unnecessary downtime that we can avoid by filing as soon as the gates open. So when we say our process takes 3 to 5 years depending on your classification of professional, skilled, or unskilled workers, we mean that's our processing time, because we do it as quickly as possible. If other companies, if other firms are quoting you 6, 7, 8 years or more, that's their processing time. We want to make sure that we're the fastest and the most efficient filers possible. So schedule a demo with us, let us explain to you how this process works, and let's make sure that we can help you grow with confidence.